Welcome everyone to our weekly Forex market analysis call, and this is in preparation for trading on for the week of November 27th to December 1, 2017. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right. So as usual, we will start off by taking a look at our economic data that's coming up this week. So we had a slow week last week because of the Thanksgiving weekend and holiday here. So going into next week, we don't have a whole lot. We do have new home sales for the US coming up on Monday, but very slow in terms of news, not much there. And then Tuesday, we have bank stress test results for the British pound. So this will be important here. And then we have consumer confidence number in the New York session here. So we have Bank of Canada, Governor Poloz speaking. Again, anytime there is a central banker speaking, that will be important here. And then we have Reserve Bank of New Zealand financial stability report, and also Governor Spencer speaking. So both of these will have an impact on the Canadian dollar as well as New Zealand dollar. And going into Wednesday here, we have OPEC meetings. OPEC meetings, now that will have an impact on oil, and as a result, also on the Canadian dollar, which can then kind of trigger price moves in commodity currencies, so Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar as well. So keep an eye on this. So the things that we're looking for will be the comments from OPEC officials. So talking about what their projections are in terms of the price of oil and how they see the price of oil and the demand for oil over the next few years. So those will be the important things. So if they're positive about it, that will be positive. If they still are aligned on cutting production, then it'll be positive for the oil, and as a result, it'll be positive for Canadian dollar as well. So that's something to keep in mind. We have preliminary GDP numbers for the US. That will be important. And then we have Fed Chair Yellen testifying. Again, expect volatility when that happens. Crude oil inventories will have an impact on Canadian dollar there as well. And then we have business confidence number for New Zealand dollar. So, and then private capital expenditure for Australian dollar. So both of these will have the impact there. Thursday, not a ton of data. We have current account, which is like the trade balance number for Canadian dollar here, and unemployment claims for the US. Chicago PMI numbers are important as well. They are leading indicators, so that will be important there, but not a whole lot. So we have later, then we have a whole bunch of PMI numbers coming out. I will keep an eye on these, even though they are not marked as red news. They can still have an impact on the market. But this one here, manufacturing PMI number, which is the overall PMI number here, will be important. So that will have an impact on the British pound. And then we have Canadian dollar data on Friday here. Employment change, GDP will have an impact, as well as the unemployment rate. So all of these are important. So here we have manufacturing PMI number for US. That will be important for the US dollar as well. So keep all of these in mind. So not a ton of data. There's just some key data points that we'll have to keep in mind as we are trading. So let's jump on to our charts now and take a look at what's going on. All right, so last week we had said that we're looking for price to go up for euro, and as we can see, it is right at our target. And now, based on the bullish candle close here, we're looking for a further move up. So I'm bullish on euro here, looking for price to go up higher into this 1.2090 or 1.2100 level. So basically back into this highs. So looking for price to go up. So euro dollar is bullish. Pound dollar. Let's take a look here. Again, we have a bullish candle close. We had a bullish pin bar here, which led to another bullish week here. Now I'm looking for further move to the upside. The target here will be the top of this pin right over here, which is 1.3580 level. So looking for price to move up higher. So we'll just bring that down. So this is where we are currently into this support and resistance. Now, this is an important support and resistance because as you can see, price played around with this for a while. So I would keep an eye on this 33.50 level, but price does look bullish at this time. So I'm looking for price to move up higher for pound dollar. 135.80 will be the next target to the upside. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar here, we have been in a downtrend for Aussie dollar, but now we have had a bullish candle close, but it hasn't engulfed the previous candle here. So it's not quite as bullish as like the euro and the British pound are. So overall, the trend is still to the downside. So now we are into that pullback level. So from trendline perspective, as well as our support and resistance perspective, we are into that pullback level. So this 76.50 level will be critical. So if the price breaks this to the upside, then we would be looking for price to move up higher. And in that case, the next target would be 7,800. But if the price does not break above this, so it's not able to do that, if it just pulls back into this level and then drops, so we could see one of these moves, and then the first target to the downside would be 75.36, and then I would be looking for a break and a further drop in this. So do keep in mind we have OPEC meetings this week as well, and if they are positive on oil, it will drive Canadian dollar up, which in turn will drive the commodity currency, so Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, higher as well. So that could have an impact, and opposite is also true. If they're not that bullish on oil, then it could have a negative impact, or if they're fighting about cutting production and they're not in alignment with how they plan to sort of go about it, then that would not be a positive for Canadian dollar or these, so these can drop. So at this point, I'm going to keep this in mind. Overall trend is still to the downside, but we are seeing pullbacks now, and we just need to see, is this a pullback or is it going to turn into a reversal now? Euro and pound are leading. These could follow as well. So that's the plan for trading this week. New Zealand dollar here. New Zealand dollar, similar thing here. We are seeing pullback. And now the question is this going to just be a pullback, or are we going to start seeing a reversal at this point now? So from this, so I'll have a similar plan here as well. So what I'm looking for New Zealand dollar would be price to do a test here, and if it doesn't break up higher, then I'm looking for price to drop and then do one of these, because the trend is still to the downside. We have made higher lows and we are still making higher lows. So if that continues, then this is the type of scenario. So that's my first case scenario. But if let's say the US dollar weakens and Aussie and New Zealand dollar align with euro and pound, in that case, we may see the price pull back higher. So I'm going to have targets on both sides for this. So the critical level will be this level, 69.20 level. So as long as price stays below the 69.20 level, I'm looking for price to do this. So go into 69.20 and drop from there. In that case, the first target would be 67.80 and second target would be 66.80 level. Those are my targets to the downside. And now the second case scenario will be if the price breaches this level, then I'm looking for price to go up higher. That type of a move. In that case, 70.50 would be my target to the upside, right into this previous support and resistance area. So those are the two scenarios for New Zealand dollar. Let's take a look at dollar CAD here. We have been trading in this range for some time. So right now we are still range bound. There's no clear direction. So for the last 3 weeks, there hasn't been any sort of clear direction. We have seen price drop, go up, drop, and this is where we are. So if OPEC meetings come out positive on oil, we're likely to see this drop. So right now it's holding below this 128.30 level. So in this case, we have to talk about scenarios as well because there's no clear signal at this point. So now we are seeing price stay below 128.30. So as long as price stays below this level, this is still bearish. So I'm looking for price to basically come here. And this is the bottom of the range. So very, very narrow range here. Perhaps we can go to a daily chart and look at it closer. So this is where we are. For the last 3 weeks, we have stayed in this range. So looking at this chart, what are the scenarios here? If the price stays above this level, 126.80 level, then it can go back up to the top of the range and do one of these once again. So that's our range bound trading. Price comes into the bottom, pushes up, goes to the top and drops down. So that's the range bound. Now we need to see a break of the range. So right now, if the price breaks to the downside, this is sort of what I'm expecting it to drop further once it breaks out of the range. So here we have a high, a lower high, and now price seems to be pushing lower. But we cannot just take a trade based on our expectation. So I would like to see a clear break of this 126.80 level. Once the price breaks through, I'm looking for it to do a pullback into that level and then drop. So the first target will be this high here. So about 25.80 level, and then looking for price to drop further into 124.80 level. So that's the first case scenario. And the second case will be if the price breaks above this 128.30 level, then we could see price go into this 129.65 level back into the highs again. But my base case scenario is going lower. So we need to see a break here. All right, so that's dollar CAD. Let's take a look here. We are looking at Euro Swiss franc. So Euro Swiss franc has been pushing up higher. So as we can see, our trend line is still intact. It came right into this trend line, intersection of trend line and the support and resistance level. Now we have a bullish pin bar. And with a bullish pin bar, I'm looking for price to move up higher. So the next target is 1.1820 level to the upside. The bias is still to the upside, lots of green candles here. So looking for price to move up higher. So Euro Swiss franc is looking bullish. Pound Swiss franc here, on the other hand, is a bit, it's in a range at the moment. So if you take a look here, for the last 3 weeks, it has just traded in this range. Again, if you go to the daily chart, as we can see, price is just trading in a range. We had a nice pin bar, drop, drop, and now it's just nowhere. So in this case, looks like price has rejected the high here. So I'm looking for it to drop into 129.50 level. And if it continues lower, then I'm looking for, so I need to see a break of 129.50. So right now I'm looking for price to drop into 129.50. If the price breaks, then I'm looking for 127.80 to the downside. But currently it's in a range. So what it can do also is price could just do this, come down and bounce off of this, giving us a double bottom. So I would be aware of that and keep that in mind. If the price does not break below 129.50, then I'm looking to trade this back into the range, heading towards the high. So this is range bound for now. All right, dollar Swiss franc, looking quite bearish. We were bearish here and we saw follow through. We were bearish here, we saw follow through. Now we are bearish again. I'm bearish on this, looking for price to drop further into this 96.50 area. So very, very bearish engulfing, or sorry, very, very bearish candle here. So looking for price to continue lower. Dollar Swiss franc is very clearly bearish. Pound CAD here. Pound CAD is pushing up higher. We had a nice bullish candle. Now we are into this resistance 170 level. It is bullish, so looking for price to go up higher into this 1.7170 level, up into the high. But in this case, because we are into resistance, we do need to keep in mind this level, a 170 20-ish level. If the price does not break above this, then it could come back lower. One thing to note here is price is not as strong. So we had a bullish candle here, but this candle is not quite as strong as this candle, which means the momentum is sort of fading a bit. So keep that in mind. Excuse me. Okay, so keep this in mind. This is where price has been for the last few days. And if it rejects this level, 170, around 11-ish level, then we could see it come lower. Okay, so overall bullish though. Pound yen. Let me get rid of some of these lines. We got too many. Okay. Very, very small moves right now. As we can see, price is slowly making its way down. But if you take a look at the weekly levels here, we have seen the price just get stuck in this level for quite some time. So clearly very, very range bound market. So I'm looking for price to come into 146.98. So 147.00 will be the first target to the downside. So current trend is to the downside, not a very strong trend, but still we are pointing downward. So in this case, I'm looking for price to do one of these and go into 14700. So this here is an important support and resistance area. If the price is not able to break below this, then we could see price go up. So some of these have been range bound for some time, and they're still staying range bound, and there's nothing really we can do about it. So we just need to trade something that has a clearer signal in it. So this one, looking for price to come into 147.00. If it bounces up, then I'm looking for price to bounce off of the bottom of the range and go back towards the middle of the range. So that's for pound yen. Euro yen, we have, again, very, very range bound for the last few weeks. As we can see, price has just traded in this level here. So we came into the bottom of the range, we have pushed off. Now I'm looking for price to move up higher into the top of the range, 134.50 level. And at that point, again, we would be into resistance. Price goes into that, and then it could bounce off like that. So that's what we're looking at. Euro yen is range bound, looking for price to go up higher into the top of the range. This one is bearish. We had talked about pullbacks, and it has pulled back a bit, but bias is still to the downside. So I'm looking for price to continue lower into this 83.70 level. So Aussie yen is looking bearish. Dollar yen is looking bearish as well. I'm looking for price to move lower into this 110.65 area, back into the bottom here. So last few weeks, we have red candles, so looking for price to drop further. But as we can see, price, the momentum is decreasing now. So I'm not looking for a huge move, just looking for price to move into 110.65 level. And if it continues, then it could come into this 108.80 level. But right now, I think 110 would be an important support and resistance for this. Okay, so that's all. Gold. Let's take a look at gold. Gold, we bounced off of the bottom. This one, it is not very clear at this point. It was bullish, but it pulled back, and now it's rejecting this level. So we have a slight upwards bias here. This is kind of what's going on. So what we may see is one of these, and price needs to clear this 1296 level. And so basically I would expect the price to come into this trend line, bounce up higher, and as long as the dollar kind of stays weak, this could go up higher. So sort of a slow, steady bias to the upside, not a huge bullish bias at this moment, but regardless, it is trending upward. So the target would be basically price pushing up higher. All right, so that's all I have. Any other questions? Anything else to add here? Okay, perfect. So looks like that's it. So we'll call it a wrap. You guys have a wonderful trading week, and if you have any questions for me or would you like to join me, feel free to check out my website, tradingwithvenus.com. All right, so we'll call it a wrap. I will see you guys next time. You're welcome, everyone. Bye for now.